YouTubers, I'm Jacob, and this is a how-to video on an oil change for a Kawasaki Mule 610cc.
Here's a list of materials and tools you will need to complete this project.
Okay, so some of your first steps before you get started, and we've already done this, you'll want to run your mule to warm up the motor so that the oil becomes a little more viscosity to allow it to drain better. We put our mule up on blocks and chalk the front tires just for a little bit easier access. I'm using a drain pan to drain the oil into. So now that we have it set up and ready, you're going to want to take a 3/4 inch ratchet or an 18 millimeter, loosen up the main drain plug. Once we have that opened up and it's drained out pretty well, then we'll take the filter off and replace the filter. Today, what I'm going to do to keep track of when the oil is changed, I'm actually going to write with a Sharpie on the oil filter the date and how many hours are on the mule at the time. So let's get started. So the best way to get to this is on the driver's side. Come down underneath here, oil filter here, and just around on the other side. Right there is the main plug. You can also use an Allen wrench to loosen up the plug. A drip pan down here. Make sure I'm loosening first. Not a lot of room to work here with the drive shaft. Make sure you're catching the oil. Alright, I think we're good enough. We can get the oil filter off. Okay, now that I have taken the plug out and the filter, you're going to want to open up the oil plug at the top so that it makes sure all the oil drains through the motor. And that is actually behind the middle seat here. You see this? This diagram shows you where it is. So you pull this cap off over here and set it aside. Here's your plug. So we'll pull this out. Leave it. Pull straight up. I'll set this aside. I'm just going to set it down here. Make sure all the oil is drained out. Now that the mule is drained out of all the old oil, the first thing you're going to do is take your fuel filter. And what I like to do is I'm actually going to write the hours that's currently on the mule, and I'm going to write the date that I'm changing it with a Sharpie. That way I can keep track of when it was last changed. The next step is you want to take a little bit of oil and get it on your finger, and you're going to rub it around the gasket on the filter and the threads. Get a little bit on there, rub it around the gasket, just rub it around this whole area inside here, a little bit on the threads. Okay, now it's ready to install. You shouldn't need to use your filter wrench to tighten it back up. You just want to get it about as tight as you can get with your hand. Get it nice and snug up. I think we're good there. So next step, put your plug back in. Still dripping more oil. Get my pan back underneath there. Tighten up this bolt. So the next step is to fill it up with oil. I'm going to wipe the dipstick off. I'll set this down. And then I'm going to use a funnel to put the new oil in. Make sure your funnel's cleaner than mine is. So we'll put our funnel in here for the oil. I'm using Castrol GTX 10W40 SAE 10W40 motor oil. Pour it in there. This is 1 quart. Based on how much came out, and I think it might be close to 2 of these. It's a nice even pour. I'll pour the second quart in, and then I'm going to check it. See where it's settled to. Okay, so I'm going to put the dipstick in. It goes in a certain way. This chamfer goes towards the back, so it's got to go in like that. Off. I'll check one more time. It looked like it was a little low. Could use just a little bit more. Looks like it's settled down. That it's just the right amount. Put the drain plug back in. It's kind of a, you have to almost turn it quarter turn counterclockwise as you insert it. Turn it clockwise to get it to seat in because of the shape of that dipstick. Now don't forget to put your cover cap on here. Okay. Now that we have that on, we're ready to go. We're ready to test it out. So what I'm going to do is I'll clean up here, close the back, make sure you lock it down, and then we'll take it for a test drive.
Thank you for watching this how-to video. Post your questions and comments below. I have included Amazon affiliate links in the description for products I use and stand behind. If you enjoyed this content and want to see more, please like this video and subscribe to my channel.